And Disney decided to hire the most insufferable girl boss narcissist that exists on Earth, who hates Snow White.
It has proven to be Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investments. I mean, they've gone through various scandals with this girl.
It's great. Okay? It's great. I'm honored. I don't know why I sound so angry right now. I'm honored. Am I
I'm a narcissist. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
If I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what?
Smart.
Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role.
In a stunning turn of events, Disney's live-action Snow White remake, once touted as a reimagining of a beloved classic, has spiraled into a public relations disaster, largely due to the controversial statements made by its lead actress, Rachel Zegler.
These people, and this is the difference between a business owner or someone who does very well for themselves in the private sector to become wealthy. This person was born looking a certain way and has a God-given ability to lie for a living. That's really what acting is, to pretend.
Initially cast as the modern face of Disney's oldest princess, Zegler quickly became a polarizing figure after making disparaging remarks about the original 1937 animated film.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White.
Right.
You should shut up and do the job.
In press interviews, she openly criticized the film's portrayal of women, expressing disdain for the prince's role and claiming the original storyline felt outdated and irrelevant. While these comments may have been intended to promote a progressive take on the classic fairy tale, they landed poorly with Disney's core audience, which values nostalgia and tradition.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious.
This disconnect between the actress's commentary and the expectations of Disney's fan base ignited a firestorm across social media, fueling memes, reaction videos, and widespread calls for boycotts that painted Zegler as arrogant and ungrateful, especially as she dismissed concerns by insisting that her fans would support her projects regardless.
Jonah Platt, whose father helped produce the latest Snow White film, had some very harsh words for star Rachel Zegler.
For context, Variety wrote a report recently titled Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco, Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler.
As a result, what was intended to be a celebratory launch of a new era for Snow White instead became a starting point for a snowballing backlash that has now engulfed both Zegler and Disney itself.
I'd say that this is one of Disney's biggest regrets ever. I mean, I checked, we've discussed it before. I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and the score is even lower than the last time we talked.
This backlash wasn't contained merely to online discussions. It translated into measurable financial consequences. Disney's leadership, including CEO Bob Iger, reportedly scrambled to contain the fallout as the remake's early promotional campaigns failed to generate the positive buzz needed to drive box office success.
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, "Every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one."
Internal reports revealed that Zegler's offhand remarks contributed directly to negative purchase intent, a metric studios closely monitor to predict ticket sales. Data from test screenings showed lukewarm responses, particularly from families who felt talked down by the trailer's messaging.
God.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
What? So yeah, my agent would have punched me in the face.
Disney's public relations teams worked overtime to patch up the situation, releasing statements that emphasized the film's modern message, while attempting to downplay the controversy. Yet, each time a new patch was applied, another snag appeared, as Zegler doubled down on her comments during the European press tour, further inflaming tensions.
Here's what I told Bob. I said, I'm curious, Bob, don't you think messages like this is why Disney keeps having box office flops?
This cascading series of missteps soon turned what was supposed to be a showcase of Disney's progressive storytelling into a textbook case of how not to handle a high-profile remake, leaving executives questioning how they had misread their core audience so badly. The Snow White remake's box office performance proved as disappointing as feared, failing to meet even modest projections.
And it was acceptable for us to dream about being a princess as a woman and meeting a handsome prince. But oh no, these big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous.
The film debuted in second place behind a mid-budget family comedy featuring pixelated heroes, a blow that underscored the growing sentiment of remake fatigue among moviegoers. Disney, which had banked on the familiarity of the Snow White brand to guarantee success, found itself facing a financial shortfall exacerbated by ballooning marketing expenses and delayed visual effects. Merchandising partners, sensing the waning popularity, renegotiated tie-in deals for dolls, costumes, and fast food promotional items. Even Disney Cruise Line quietly scrapped plans for stage adaptations.
How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to do that.
The poor financial return, combined with mounting public criticism, marked the remake as one of Disney's most regrettable recent ventures, cementing its place as a case study in how corporate missteps and star controversies can converge to derail a major release in a move that shocked Hollywood insiders. Disney escalated the situation by filing a $100 million lawsuit against Rachel Zegler, citing breach of contract and reputational damages. This aggressive legal stance was seen as a desperate attempt to recoup some of the studio's losses and sent a message to shareholders that accountability existed within the Magic Kingdom. The lawsuit, however, raised serious concerns across the industry, as suing a film's own lead actress for public comments is almost unheard of and threatened to set a dangerous precedent. Talent agencies and producers watch closely, fearing the implications for future contracts and star relationships. Meanwhile, Zegler, amid the growing legal storm, disappeared from the public eye. Airport records revealed she had quietly boarded a late-night flight out of the country, sparking a global guessing game about her whereabouts. Digital sleuths traced her possible destinations to Dubai, Canada, or other international locations, fueling intense speculation and media frenzy. Paparazzi captured grainy images of a woman resembling Zegler shopping in luxury boutiques or dining behind tinted glass at upscale restaurants. Her absence only intensified the narrative, as fans and commentators questioned whether she fled to avoid being served legal documents or was simply seeking refuge from the media firestorm. This disappearance deepened the mystique surrounding the case and turned Zegler from a rising star into a central figure in an unprecedented legal and cultural saga. As this legal drama unfolded, it became a spectacle covered not just by entertainment outlets but by mainstream media, legal analysts, and financial journalists who debated the wider implications. Social media platforms lit up with debates about corporate censorship versus artistic freedom. Commentators questioned whether Disney's lawsuit was a justified defense of its brand or a heavy-handed punishment of a young actress for expressing her opinions. This clash between personal expression and corporate interest highlighted the fragile balance that modern stars must maintain, where every public comment can be scrutinized, clipped, and weaponized. Even as settlement rumors surfaced suggesting a multi-million-dollar repayment plan spread over Zegler's future earnings. Both camps leaked conflicting narratives to the press, keeping the public engaged and divided. Disney's internal strategy shifted in response to the Snow White debacle, with executives convening off-site retreats to reevaluate the company's approach to storytelling. The result was a roadmap committing to fewer remakes and a renewed focus on original animated films. Strict new social media protocols were introduced for marquee talent, ensuring that future promotional tours would avoid similar pitfalls. Meanwhile, Disney's subsequent releases, including an original animated adventure centered on themes of togetherness, were met with critical acclaim, signaling that the studio was capable of rediscovering its magic. Yet, the shadow of the Snow White incident loomed large, serving as a cautionary tale for the entire entertainment industry. For Zegler, the saga left her career at a crossroads. Industry insiders speculated about potential indie projects that can serve as a comeback vehicle, allowing her to reshape public perception. Friends described her as spending time in a secluded residence overseas, reflecting on the controversy and its impact. A carefully staged photograph posted to a private social media account, captioned "Still Learning," reignited speculation about her next move. While this post humanized her to some, Disney's legal team reportedly saw it as confirmation of her location, prompting them to extend jurisdiction tools for digital notification of court motions. The public, however, remained divided. Some rallied to Zegler's defense, viewing her as a victim of corporate overreach, while others argued that her statements had justifiably jeopardized the brand and deserved consequences. As mediation talks progressed, reports suggested that a tentative agreement was reached involving a high seven-figure restitution package, a co-funded charity initiative. and mutual non-disparagement clauses to prevent further public sniping. This settlement structure, resembling a royalty stream rather than a punitive fine, allowed both parties to move forward while maintaining the appearance of resolution. The Snow White saga, however, left a lasting impact on Hollywood's approach to talent management. Casting directors began scrutinizing actors' digital footprints more closely, weighing personal brand volatility alongside box office draw. Studios instituted mandatory media training and social media guidelines for stars, creating an environment where personal expression was carefully managed to avoid clashing with corporate messaging. This shift reflected a broader cultural reckoning, where the line between advocacy and commercial responsibility grew ever thinner. The Snow White remake, once positioned as a landmark of modern storytelling, thus became a sobering example of the complexities involved in navigating the intersection of entertainment, politics, and public perception in the digital age.